Caribbean people recount, like horror movies, between Hurricane Irma, the roof, the car was blown away. For the people of the Caribbean, Hurricane Irma just as overflowing horror film they never want to see. Mobile towers were broken in pairs, the containers were 12 meters long and vehicles were blown up in the air, roofs washed up by windstorms. People have no place to hide. They cling to the bathroom door as the storm threatens to pull them out of the house. "What we have experienced is nothing more than horror movies," said a woman on Antigua's island, east of the Caribbean, told ABS TV. She was in the heart of one of the strongest storms ever recorded in history, swallowed the Caribbean Sea. Hurricane Irma, which is about the same size as Texas in the United States, spilled over Barbuda, just 16 kilometers. Satellite imagery shows that islands in the Caribbean Sea are nearly devoured by the storm. At dawn on September 7th, at least 10 people from the Barbuda Islands of Barbuda and Antigua to the U.S. Virgin Islands have died. Like many other tropical islands on Irma's path, Barbuda has been seriously damaged. The Prime Minister says 90% of the buildings have been destroyed. In the morning of September 7th, a giant hurricane swept Puerto Rico on its way to the Turks and Caicos, the Bahamas, and is thought to be causing a flood on the east coast of Florida. Attacks at Keys Island and Miami Beach have been conducted. A firefighter in Barbuda describes the horror as he and his teammates realized they were the only ones who could rescue the residents here. When the fifth-grade typhoon with 322 km/h winds hit the island, they were told a 3-year-old baby was in need of rescue. When they were about to leave, they found the fire department had been hit by the wind. "That made us more scared, but we still have to work because this is our obligation to the people," one member told ABS TV. On St. Marin's Island, local officials reported that 95% of the works were destroyed, including the third-largest airport in the Caribbean. Alex Wolfall, a retired British tourist here, described his fears on Twitter as the building he was hiding in the storm at about 4:30 a.m. Wolfall said the wind screamed like it was behind a jet engine and the stairs he was standing in were hot. "This may be my last tweet before I run out of electricity. The noise now sounds like apocalypse, which is like a movie I never wanted to see," he wrote. Breaking the tropical paradise. Another tropical paradise on the path of the storm is the island of billionaire Richard Branson, where Mr. Obama came to the resort earlier this year after leaving the White House. The British businessman with his son and staff went down to the cellar underneath the villa to take refuge. When Hurricane Irma passed, they came back and found most of the building was leveled. Gaston Brown, Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, was safely on the main island of Antigua 320 kilometers east, but was helpless when the storm destroyed the northern island of Barbuda, home to 1,800 residents. Communications have been cut off and are currently inaccessible to many of these islands. Upon arriving at the island by helicopter, Brown was stunned by the extent of the damage. "The Barbuda is now rubble, it's really underwater, and in my view, there is no place in Barbuda to live," he told ABS TV. Power outages and severing of storm lines also make it difficult to assess the extent of damage in places such as the U.S. Virgin Islands. Even local radio stations cannot continue broadcasting the storm as expected. Local people have used groups on Facebook to look for missing relatives and report after storms. Others have sought to connect with GoFundMe to raise funds for storm victims. More than 1 million people in Puerto Rico in the United States have fallen into darkness as the storm overflows, sweeping the coast with heavy rain. Flood warnings have been issued, but the island is still fortunate not to suffer the worst from Killer Irma. After sweeping through Puerto Rico, Irma continues to the Bahamas. 6 of the islands south of the archipelago have been evacuated as rescue workers may not have access to the areas Irma is about to scan. Prime Minister Bahamas Hubert Minnis said it was the largest evacuation in the history of the country.
the storm. Here's what has happened over the past hour.